it was just a lot of work up until this point, and I was tired. But when the elevator pitches started rolling in, I got really fired up for this. So step number 4 was in the spring of 2009. Once we picked our 30 finalists, we actually started doing some immersive media education work. How does the brain work on media? This is your brain on media, for example, and we did some very cool work about that. And again, you can click out and read about that some more if you'd like. This is all on the blog. Step number 5 was actually gathering in Washington, D.C. last summer for 3 weeks in Vermont to have some fun in D.C. and get to know one another for a couple of days, and then go up to Vermont and work on video projects, which again was flippin' amazing, as we like to say. Here's a couple of videos here you can watch at your leisure from the students, and maybe we'll have a chance to watch these tomorrow. I don't know. But the 3-week summer experience was pretty remarkable. And again, I'd encourage you to talk to the students about that. They've all blogged about it, and you can reach all of their blogs through this blog or the NetVibes page, which is linked here. And then finally, step number 6, in the fall of 2009, we launched a second mini project, and this is a project I really like. The idea was to create short, public health-related videos of no more than 30 seconds that could be shared on mobile phones. Particularly in countries with governments that are not so hip, a little bit more repressive than not, getting public health information out to people can be difficult. So what if we created, we called this the Mobile Eyes Project, Mobile Eyes. And the idea was to put interesting public health information into the hands of people via smartphones in places where maybe it was hard to do that otherwise. And again, there's more information about this at the blog. And I embedded actually one video from a couple of .comers, so you can take a look at that. That brings us up to this year, step number 7. We launched one final digital video project in which we asked students, the 30 .com students, simply to reflect on their experience, how to go. And these videos actually are still coming in. They're going to be in hopefully in the next couple of weeks, right? Yes. And I can't wait to see them, but we have a couple up right now. So it's been an amazing journey, and I forgot to point this out before, but .com was a pilot project. Never been done before, to our knowledge, in the way that we've done it. The mix of cross-cultural exchange, social media tools, some conversation about conflict and conflict resolution, and media education and digital video production. It's a really heady, it's a really potent combination. So the big question, back to the big question of the conference, which is, how do we measure the success of social media for social change? That's the big question for me, and I think for many of us in the room. Here are 4 options. One way to measure social media for social change, the success of that, is simply to look, as Google does, at the aggregated traffic data. Right? So for example, we have close to 10,000 uploads from our .com YouTube page alone. Not bad. In 18 months or 20 months or so. So that's one way to measure the success of social change, or the potential social change, is to simply look at traffic. How many people are viewing, watching, commenting, what have you. There's a second way to measure this, and that is what I call the college and university answer to this question. Can you, as a student, demonstrate accessible skills, accessible knowledge that can be measured in some way? I feel fairly confident that all 30 of our .com high school students are now fairly adept at blogging, tweeting perhaps, producing and distributing digital videos, definitely. And they can actually now go and teach those skills to other people in their communities. In fact, where are Armenians? The Armenians, without any prompting from anybody else, this is above and beyond the scope of the .com program, have already set up workshops with at least 2 schools in Yerevan to teach other students about the power of social media. And that to me is exactly what we hope will happen. That the impact of this program will ripple out in ways that we can't even predict. And Nadia, is Nadia here? Nadia, where? Yeah, I just quoted from Nadia's blog last night. All the students finished up final reflection. She wrote, some weeks ago, Armenian.comers decided to organize trainings about Web 2.0 tools for sharing our knowledge with Armenian students. As we all were very busy, we made our presentations by the help of online tools. As a result of it, we succeeded because most of them realized that social media can be useful for them. And that's just a wonderful outcome, I think. And I hope we see more of that. There's a third way to measure the success of social media for social change, perhaps looking at specific citizen action campaigns. And this is, of course, the citizen activists' answer to the question. Do we expect our .comers to go out and start campaigns like this one by concerned citizens in Yerevan, Armenia? There's a beautiful old, slightly rickety, I'm told, open-air hall in downtown Yerevan in Armenia called the Moscow Cinema. And I guess the government of Armenia, or of Yerevan, is it the city council or is it the state? In any case, the Armenian government decided that they would tear down this open-air performance space and replace it with yet another church. And Armenians in Yerevan decided that maybe that wasn't such a good idea. And they organized a very interesting combination of online and face-to-face petition gathering, which caught fire pretty quickly, I'm told. And I guess we have close to 3,000 citizens who've signed petitions to keep this place open in just a couple of weeks in time. And here's a sign that we saw when we were in downtown Yerevan, which means no destroy, literally translated in English, this particular space. And that's a great example, I think, of a citizen action campaign that's fueled in part by social media. Not exclusively, because remember, the social really matters. A number of people that we talk with have knocked on doors and collected petition signatures face to face. Here's a fourth option for measuring the success of social change. Cross-cultural dialogue. And we've seen a lot of that in .com. And what's interesting about cross-cultural dialogue and the program is much of, I think, the best cross-cultural dialogue has occurred privately. I haven't been privy to it as the guy who's been running the show on the educational side. Elizabeth hasn't been privy to it as the logistics and program, the project director. But as I've been traveling over the past couple of weeks, I've had a lot of interesting conversations with students in .com who've told me, oh yes, I've been talking with so-and-so in Armenia or Azerbaijan or the United States on Facebook privately or whatever medium, and it turns out actually we might have more in common than we realize. And that's incredibly exciting.